I hit that post, and does anybody know what it's about?
Guitars.
Anybody know? Yeah,
guitars. Yeah, because I saw the signature guitar post too.
What do you think about SrVerde? Who?
So I was like, oh, okay. But I wasn't really sure what the hang on, what does the text say? Not the copy, but in the actual graphic.
Made to exacting specifications. Mine.
So made to exacting specifications. That kind of confused me.
Yeah, so that means that the specs or the specifics of the gear that make up the guitar, the neck, the bolt, the tuning keys, everything. I said, that's what I want. I want that, want that, want that. And so it's all, most of that stuff is third party. What we make is the neck and the body. And sometimes we actually import a body from another, maker who does a real good, cool job too. So
disclaimer: we're talking about guitars, not people.
Yes, that's right. Yes. What's next, man? So you've had a few little things going on. We were out last week for a few days because you were busy last week.
I was really busy last week.
This and that and this, and I can't make it because I'm flying into so and so to interview for a deal, and I got a show, and da da da. I'm like, whoa,
yeah, so
fancy pants.
So real estate's kind of the shovel right now. It's the main priority to get my classes over with. I'm maintaining a class a week. I'll be finishing the third class hopefully tomorrow. Once I pass that test.
Very good.
And then it's 3 more and I'm done until I take the big test.
Ooh, the big one.
So, I'd like to have all the coursework done by mid-July.
Okay.
So, in addition to that, we talked about I booked a commercial. I shot said commercial on Wednesday. That was a lot of fun for Sinclair Oil. Worked with an awesome director. He was out of LA. He's a commercial director. And fun fact, tie into guitars, in 1984, he was the art director for Van Halen. So if you have a T-shirt of Van Halen's from 1984, he did the logo for that shirt.
That's freaking cool. I wish I did. I probably did and tossed it. Had a bunch of those old rocker shirts. Who knew they would be like chic and vintage and worth hundreds of dollars?
I know, right?
Yeah. I was like, garage sale, garage. I mean, we're talking about Journey, Deep Purple, Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue. I mean, I had the shirts, right? Like,
golly. I'm going to sidebar. I feel like we need to put my life on hold to the next episode, but that doesn't mean my life's going on hold because, we have several days till that next episode. But, I feel like this is more, the way you're feeling. We need to talk about some music today.
Music.
We need to talk about these guitars and just tie it into music and, what's your music background?
That's an interesting question. I grew up north of Dallas in a small town. My mother was born in the hills of Kentucky. She was a bluegrass girl. Very close to the region of where Loretta Lynn and some of the other country superstars were. She played and sang in church her entire life as a child. Played guitar, played piano, all by ear. Back then it was just like pick it up and go, right? And I remember being a young child and her in the 70s being in some of these country and western groups where they all wore the same slacks and shirts and vests and a scarf. I mean, the men and the ladies. She was the lead singer and she had the slide guitar guy and the guitar. Yeah. It was very cool. Got a lot of old pictures of that where she was doing her thing in that scene. It was a little pre-outlaw country. It was more of that Conway Twitty, early George Jones.
You're going to see him on Hee Haw.
Early, well, I mean, like even like Waylon and Merle, they all used to dress up.
Right.
I mean, to the T, and looking sharp. And then they kind of entered that outlaw phase and dirty jeans and dirty old hats and stuff like that were a little bit different.
And that kind of metaphorically, and we didn't even plan this, but, we started... before we went on air, we were listening to Rusty Cage, Soundgarden.
Yeah.
And you think about Johnny Cash, he dressed up.
Yeah.
And then he covers Soundgarden. If I'm not mistaken, he covered Soundgarden, right?
I know he did Trent Reznor. He
has a whole album of covers that he did in right before he died.
I don't remember
like
that.
9 Inch Nails, Hurt.
Yeah, that was Trent Reznor, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm bad with the names of people in bands. But that's kind of funny to go from they traded dressing nice to like more grungy, and then we started this podcast off with Rusty Cage that was later covered by Johnny Cash.
Well, I tell you, so growing up around that atmosphere of my mom and her little side gigs, and always hearing her sing and yodel. She could yodel.
Oh, wow.
Oh man, she can still yodel. She's 82. She can still yodel, still play guitar. She still has a little keyboard at home. She plays her little old school country songs and stuff.
Can we call her right now?
Not right now, no. But we could probably go. This podcast would go like 8 hours if I call her, because we wouldn't get off the phone. But growing up around that, I had an interest in guitar. I remember I was probably 8 or 9 when she brought home the first little like kid-size guitar, and man, I didn't pull a Bryan Adams and play it till my fingers bled, but I played it until they hurt, and then I really wasn't interested because it was like, this is painful. This isn't fun.
Was it the summer of '69?
No, more like 78 or 9.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think you were that
right
young.
in that, right in that range. I was young, but. So then probably by 10 years old, I had just probably only learned 2 or 3 chords and then put it down and never really picked it back up until my early 20s. And I had moved away from the hometown area I was in, and I was landed here in Tyler. And one weekend, my mom came to visit me, and she had a pretty nice little acoustic guitar. It's a Sigma, is a guitar company that's owned by Martin, and it's an entry level Martin guitar. But I still have it. It's back there in the back of the office. I play it.
Nice.
We still play it and mess around. She brought me that, and she was like, "It's time for you to pick this up again." I think I was 23 or 4 or 5, somewhere in that range, and I was like, "Okay." And so I got the Mel Bay chord book and started learning how to play.
Yeah,
and then just played by ear and just by osmosis of being around other musicians for about 10 or so years. Was in a couple of fun little side project bands with some...
Like what kind of bands?
Like alternative rock, fun stuff. But I mean, we covered stuff like Justin Timberlake and Ben Harper and stuff like that. Mostly
That's not classic rock.
No. I said we were in alternate. We were alternate alt rock,
gotcha.
but we covered a lot of stuff too and played a few parties here and there.
What was
the first band that I was in, we called ourselves Underwhelmed because we were pretty much underwhelmed with ourselves. And then the second one was Net Worth Zero.
Oh, I like that. It's almost kind of like Typo Negative.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was basically the net worth. The Underwhelmed was just us literally not being impressed with ourselves because we were just 3 dudes goofing off.
Yeah.
And then it was. I got a little side note on that. I was in my attic not too long ago looking for something, and I found a cache of old cassettes from the Underwhelmed when we went to the studio and cut some songs.
Oh my gosh,
cassettes! Yeah.
So are we gonna play
yeah,
this? That needs to be the intro.
That will
to
be
this
something.
podcast.
Yeah, we'll do that. But then we had the Net Worth Zero. That was back in 2007. Once my daughter was born, that kind of took first place, and I had to kind of stop doing that. But we wrote a few songs. We had a song on the radio for the Bump Music show, local show. It was kind of fun. But so just always been enamored with it. Have always been the guy with the hairbrush singing in the mirror, and the whole risky business kind of.
Yeah.
You can just see. That's my whole life. I've always done that. So I've got some chops. I can sing. I'm not going to lie. I'm not shy, and I can pretty much adapt to any genre. Hip hop might be kind of hard for me to adapt to, but I could probably spit some rhymes from memory, but not really like.
We'll have to do that one day. We have to have a freestyle.
Right,
freestyle.
Probably couldn't do that, but I'm really into hip hop and hard rock and. Dude, I've been on an old school. I think I've been going back. Maybe this podcast is probably helping me go back.
Yeah,
in my memory, just kind of as to my childhood. For the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've been listening literally to like original first 1 or 2 or 3 albums of the Beatles. And then anything old school country. I mean, old, like 50s, 60s country.
Yeah.
And so I've been walking around the house singing, George Jones and Conway Twitty. And
how are your kids taking this?
And they're like, what are you singing? So that's just been kind of a vein I've been on lately. That and then the spa music, just kind of the new age spa, ethereal stuff in the background with the keys and the water running.
Makes you just want to fall asleep.
Yeah, but I
yeah.
use it for focus. Like I use it to just kind of meditate and
I do that too. You know what I do?
zone out, from the beats and stuff.
I have a Spotify playlist that I call John Hughes because any John Hughes movie you watch, there's like this ambionic 80s sound that doesn't have any, it's all just electronic, and so it kind of has that same vibe to it.
So the story behind the guitars as it ebbs and moves forward, I love all music, always have, and I have a couple of nephews, one in particular up in the southern Ohio area, just outside Cincinnati, which is where most of my family's from. I was born right across the river in northern Kentucky. He's just a talented individual. He's very creative and artsy, like just an artist, really. He's a player. Has been since he was a young child, he and his brother both. And so he's a craftsman that kind of runs in the blood of my family, like carpenters and good with wood in their hands and stuff like that. So he's the builder, and I'm kind of the designer behind the series and the models that I want to put out. And he's kind of doing his own thing too. But I'm doing that because I want to use the guitars for things like, the auction at the benefit. I don't want to talk about that too much, but those are things that are important to me. Yeah. And so it's a way for me to give to an organization without just writing a check.
Right.
It's kind of a unique way for me to participate in that. Goes back to the give on the wall out front. It's all what it's all about, everything we do. So that, and then I really want to use the instruments to connect with the artist industry, to connect with musicians of all genres, and get that connective relationship and things going through the instrument, so that I can have inroads into that culture of music and begin to work and do and have fun and play around in that space, without just being a guy who walks up and says, "Hi, I'm an entrepreneur from Texas. I just, hey, here's a guitar." What? Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Okay. You want to play? Sure. Let's play. And kind of just get to know people, and from every level. And it's part of the master plan. It's part of the 40-year plan. The guitars is part of it. It was the first piece of all that we're launching in different things. So
are we looking the same quality as like Taylor and Martin? Or are we, looking more on the lower end spectrum right now? What are we looking at quality wise?
Probably the upper middle. Yeah, definitely not a starter. These aren't $200 or $300, high volume made, outside the USA instruments. These are instruments for players. We design them with tonal quality and performance in mind, and then use the materials, the components from other manufacturers that are renowned for, let's say, their single coil double wound pickups, or their humbucker pickup, or their bridge, or the pick. There's different pieces to it, and so we take those elements and like, well, wouldn't it be cool if we had this one? And I'm like, yeah, let's use this wood and we'll play it this way, and we'll bookend bind it, and the grain will go this way, and we'll stain it, but we'll put a mirrored pick guard on it, and we'll do a rosewood fretboard. So it's just a fun kind of thing, because every instrument plays differently. I mean, you can change the temperature in the room and it plays differently.
Right.
So
the type of strings. And are we looking at classical?
No, so far we're only sticking towards classic designed electric guitars in 2 to 3 different models and different iterations of those models. So there's no acoustics at this point. That is something that we'll dive into eventually, some sort of acoustic, but those are a lot more tedious and not something that I want to use to launch with. Really, the electric guitar is the gigging musician. Yeah. And so that's what we wanted to start with. So
that's cool. Yeah. Nice. Well, that's exciting. Can't wait to see where that goes. Freezing for
it was pretty. Designing you and I had a chance to look just a second ago. I showed it on camera. The hang tag, which had the logo on it. I mean, I had 17, 18 different iterations of a logo, going through that process and finalizing that just in the last few days, and working on a hang tag and working on the specifications and how it'll be listed on the hang tag, and all the little nuances of the bolt plate behind the neck with the logo on it. It just blows my mind, and so there's all those. It's product development, right?
Right.
This is where I thrive. Product development, I love it, and got a few opinions here and there from the team and some colleagues, but for the most part, it's just my vision come to life, and that's the funnest part for me. So we're going to see where it goes. It's not something that my expectations are to run off thousands of units a year and sell them. It's meant to be exclusive, 10 or fewer of one model, and make them exclusive. And so we've got 2 or 3 different lines that we're already working on building those out and what they look like, but still limited in scope. And that's what I like about it. We're not trying to ramp up to 2,500 units a month and outsell, some other company. And it's a learning process. I mean, gosh, just in the last year, we've been playing around with it, trying to figure it out. I've learned a ton, And so it's just fun and interesting. And it's the first piece. The 2 things I needed to launch this year in order to set in motion my 40-year plan was the media company, which we just launched a couple of weeks ago, and the guitar company. Those two things work hand in hand. And then there's a third one, and it's about a month away from being announced, and it's probably 6 months away from being actually open for business. And those are pretty neat. I mean, and most people in my world know I don't do anything that doesn't have some connective tissue to the next thing, meaning that guitars and that space and that business has connective tissue to 2 or 3 other things that I want to do as far as other businesses. And then those 2 or 3 things connect back to guitars in other ways. And so, it's not like I'm doing something over here and something over here and they're completely unrelated. And then once you have the business acumen and the skill set and the mindset to succeed and just to go and do, and you have the means to go and do, then it's just execution. And you just go back and you create a list of 1, 2, 3 ABC and start knocking them out. And that's what we do with the guitars and the media.
So how do you feel now, having kind of a crap morning, to be able to get back to your passion? All of a sudden, how does your mood feel now?
It's great. We talked about that when I first walked in. We talked about I was physically in the trenches, literally in a trench, with a shovel in hand and helping my guys out of a situation that was kind of dire. We've had a lot of rain events recently, and in the real estate development world, that is no good. We need some dry weather to be able to complete certain tasks, or those tasks sometimes are undermined. And that's exactly what happened last week. It was undermined. And then we had a big rain yesterday out of nowhere, just flash flood, literally.
Right.
And
I was so mad about that.
Yeah.
I'm going to rant. I'm in the middle of taking a chapter exam, and I am one question from finishing this thing. And the power goes out.
Oh, no.
So I reboot my computer because I'm a dummy and I don't have a backup battery supply on my Mac. And redo the test. I get to the last question. Boom. Goes out again.
You're kidding me.
Twice.
You got to be kidding me.
No. So I ended up doing the rest of it on my iPad, which is great because I wasn't looking at the book at that point. So, and I made 100. So there you go.
Nice. That's great.
So the secret to passing tests is to use your book until you don't need it.
That's right. So, so the morning started out a little rough. I'm not too fancy or prideful in my own station of where I'm at to still get down in the dirt, literally in the dirt.
Can you ever be at that point?
I don't think you will if you're passionate about what you're doing. You're a business owner, and what you do is a part of you, right?
Yeah.
It's like if there was I don't know. It's not like a child if you had a wreck and you were trying to lift the car up to get the kid off from under it, but it's when there's an emergency, it's your baby, it's your business, right?
Right.
So you act appropriately. And this morning, my appropriate behavior was to jump down in the ditch and try to help execute. And so I did that. But it was the reason you're bringing that up is because it was undermined by the municipality and the authority that is over our projects inside that city limits. Basically said, "Oh man, that looks great. Too bad you got to undo all that because that's not what we want." And we're like, "Really?" So. It was all in vain, and so it puts you in a rough spot. But I come in here, give me 2 or 3 minutes to kind of acclimate to the temperature of the room because it's nice and cool and it's hot out there, and freshened up, poured a drink, said, "Hey, let's do this." So mindset's great.
So how do you jumping down in the trenches with your guys? How do you feel like today differed from a normal day when you're not normally out there? I mean, is that something that
I think a lot of times that the labor force, the on the ground, boots on the ground labor force, and that doesn't necessarily have to mean someone with a shovel in their hand. That can be an agent out in the field. That can be a real estate agent, not FBI agent. That can be an agent out in the field. That can be somebody in the office. I think that every now and then the CEO, the head guy, needs to get his hands dirty. It kind of in a symbolic fashion, so that everyone knows that he or she as the leader is not above that task. And two things happen. One, it builds rapport with your team. It says, hey, he's not too high and mighty to get down here and do this with us. It does something else too that's kind of unforeseen usually. And it sometimes will tell that party, wow, he can do my job. I better execute. Like he needs me, but he can still do it. Or maybe he can find somebody else. And so a lot of times it's not really a fear factor, but it plays into the trust and merit that I have as a leader. And then it also tells them that if I can do it, they better be able to do it, because that's what I demand. If I can do it, I need you to do it. And I need you to do it better than me. Like, I'm hiring you to do something. You should be able to do it better than me. I can do it and we can get by, but I really need you to way outperform me. And I feel like I give my team, every member at every level, that kind of autonomy to perform. There are moments when I'm sucked into the vortex of micromanagement. I hate that. And I really try to just, literally physically bite my lip and walk away. Got to do that sometimes. But I think that any leader that's willing to do that, any CEO that's willing to do that, will get a higher level of performance out of their team members, bar none, every time. There's probably some people that just on the team, mine or otherwise, that sometimes are just like, wish he'd go away, wish he'd leave me alone. But at the same time, I think the majority are appreciative of the fact that I'm willing to get dirty and grind it out with them. Wee hours of the morning, down in the dirt, getting wet, whatever it takes. I try not to do it very often because I don't have time to do it.
Right.
What happened this morning skewed our whole plan for the afternoon. So I'm now an hour and a half behind for the day. But that's okay. It happens.
Yeah. So how do you mentioned micromanaging, how does micromanaging fit into your leadership style? Do you think it's something that's like one of your biggest, I wouldn't say faults as a leader, but do you feel like that's something that you have to constantly keep in mind of as CEO?
I keep it at top of mind because I do have a tendency to want to do that. But I have really put a lot of measures in place to control that. And I usually will self-check and use the moment to teach as opposed to do the work over the person, right?
Yeah.
So what do I mean by that? So I'll take, let's just say, a creative piece that we're working on. Maybe Haas has created something and I don't like it, or I don't like the direction of it, or I want to change something. I will explain why I want to change it. And I will explain to him in great detail. But first I'll challenge him or another team member. What do you see? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? What would you change? That's interesting. Here's what I see, and here's why. And then we'll go that direction. And usually when, there's a connection, there's an aha moment. I get it. Because it's hard to articulate a vision sometimes. And what the creative side of the team is supposed to be doing is creating the vision that I have. Well, sometimes they miss it because it's very difficult to articulate that in great detail enough and really still give the autonomy to create and not stifle creativity. Like, I've just literally go do it. Oh, great, perfect. Or, let me think about that. I don't like that music. Do you know why I don't like it? Do you hear the context of what I'm speaking about? Yeah. What music would fit better? Oh, I get it. Right?
Underwhelming.
Yeah. Underwhelming music. Yeah. So no, I think that because I want to teach and because I have that mentality, I really rein in the micromanagement, because micromanagement is usually do it like this, do it right now while I'm watching, or move out of the way, I'll do it for you. And I don't want either one of those scenarios. So I try to better articulate the vision, and then I go back later after the fact when it's just me in a room and I'm thinking about, things or trying to grow as a leader. Okay, why did that person not understand the vision? How did I fail in the line of communication? because it all goes back to me. Every single thing that goes down in this place, every CEO, it all goes up to you. You can't be up here. I don't believe that you can be up here and lead down here. You have to be down here to lead, but mentality-wise, you're up here, right?
It's kind of like you're guiding collaboration. I think that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah. A guide, a teacher, someone who's pulling people along. I want, I know for a fact that the majority of my team won't be with me 20 years from now. And that's okay. That's cool. I want them to grow and move on. But while they're here, when you're
just make sure you give them a really good severance package.
Yeah. Well, we said it recently. We said, it was talking about hire people, bring people in to leverage their capabilities and their skill sets and compensate them well. Mm-hmm. Like, don't just expect extreme performance and pay crappy, but don't put up with crappy performance and pay too much.
Right.
Like, you have to do the job. And if you can't, it doesn't work out, right? But in that, there's a lot of learning and a lot of stuff that goes in. I'm really into leadership and go to tons of seminars. No, I don't go to tons anymore, but I go to one a year maybe. So it seems like tons over the years, and have read a lot of books and just continue to exercise that restraint of micromanagement in order to get better performance and lead people down the path of execution and not lead them down the path to, being put out with me constantly and then wanting to walk out the door. Mm-hmm. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
I'm cool like that.
Yeah.
I'm cool like that. I'm cool like that.
Cool like a TX whiskey and a frozen ball of ice.
Nothing like it.
I know. I'm kind of jealous.
Yeah. Well, you're not employed anymore, so you can have one with
probably
me.
Going to.
Maybe we'll stick around this afternoon and have one.
Yeah.
But that's my take on it, man. It's like I want to lead well, and I try to be empathetic to the party that I'm dealing with. Now, on occasion, I get upset about stuff because it's been communicated, and I feel like it was communicated well, and then there's an error, and there has to be course correction. And sometimes it's dogmatic and matter of fact. Boom, boom, boom. You didn't do this. Why? This is what I wanted. Why can't you do that? Mm-hmm. But when that happens, after the dust settles, I typically go back around, and I'm happy me, and I go back around and I go, hey, remember earlier I was a little upset? Yeah, it's just I had expectations, way up here, and it didn't work out, and you didn't perform the way I was expecting, and a lot of other circumstances outside of your performance were probably tying into my reaction, but I wasn't happy. It's okay that I wasn't happy, but I want to let you know that if you feel like that was too harsh or it was too short, I want to let you know that I'll do better to be a little more sensitive to that. And usually when I do that, people go, no, I totally understand. Like, I screwed up. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, cool, you own it. Thanks. Yeah. I appreciate that. Then it's mutual. They don't feel like that I was hard and I came to them apologetically. They feel like, yeah, you got me. I did it. Yeah, ass chewing. Thanks. I needed that,
Yeah.
And I think we all do every now and then,
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. I guess, I don't mean this in a challenging question, more just because I'm just curious. When you look at your leadership style, do you feel like you're confident that you would follow yourself if you weren't yourself and you were employed by yourself? I know that's really I
totally get it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally get it.
Thanks.
I do believe that my personality style would be difficult to come under. Like if I were to see a position that I wanted, and I recognized that the leader of that organization was wired just like me, it would be difficult for me to come under that leadership because of who I am and the massive vision that comes out of my brain on a daily basis, right? So, but would I be appreciative of the manner in which I lead and probably be able to operate under it? Of course.
Yeah.
I totally believe that. Yeah. I think that I think I'm fun, and I think I'm fun to be around. People stay. People don't leave, and
I'm not even getting paid, and I'm here.
That's right. See, and that goes to show you something too. We have a lot of people that come do
If you say podcast, I'm leaving.
No. I was going to say pre-employment, proof of concept and proof of worth.
Right.
They come and they're like, I can do this. And I'm like, cool, come for a few days and show me what you can do. Yeah. They pop in, they do it. I'm like, you can, you're right.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than hiring somebody that says that they can take out the trash and turn the lights on and off. And the two things they don't do every day is take the trash out and turn the lights on and off. And you're like, This is what you said you could do.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, I'm just really better at this. Well, that's not what you were hired for. So, yeah, on occasion. But I think I would be able to come under. And that's really what I would consider it, because I think we have fun. I know that I'm a generous person, at different levels and different things that I do inside the company. So I feel like it'd be a fun time.
Nice. Yeah. And guitars.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if I was 22, 3, 4, 5 years old and I met somebody like me that was doing everything that I'm doing and was all about having fun, if I was that young guy or girl and I saw the culture around this organization, I would clamor to be here. That didn't exist when I was coming up. There was a lot of opportunity. If you were a hardworking, young man or young woman, there was opportunity you could capitalize on. But there wasn't anybody having fun. Not where I was.
Yeah.
This is fun. It's fun to be here.
Yeah.
Right, team. Back me up on that. Yeah. It's fun. They're shaking.
Yeah, it's amazing. I need a job.
Yeah. And so I think it's fun. And so if you're out there and you're listening to this and you've identified there's some organizations or some leaders in your marketplace or in the space that you want to play in, go freaking work for them. Work for free.
Or drink in the afternoon. Drink in the afternoon.
Yeah, that too. But it's I don't know. I wish I had more allocated to payroll so I could hire more people more quickly.
Right.
We do have it built into the budget to bring certain team members on at certain times and growth pinnacles and stuff like that. But fun. Yeah. Maybe I'm too high on myself. Maybe I'm a real ass. I've got no idea.
All I got in my head now is I was gonna go to work until I got high. I was gonna do my real estate work till I got high. I don't smoke weed.
We lost him.
Okay, sidebar. This is random. So, did you ever have your wisdom teeth taken out?
No, I did not.
Oh, wow.
I still have all of my teeth.
Oh, well.
They're not pretty.
No, that's why you know everything, because you still have your wisdom teeth.
Oh, maybe.
So my mom had an interview for a doctor who took out wisdom teeth.
Okay.
While I was having my wisdom teeth taken out. Yeah.
Okay.
So then after my surgery's out, she gets out of the interview. She goes, finds my dad. And they're like, what is that noise? And they take them back to the recovery room where I am, and I am wailing the Star Spangled Banner as if I'm Axl Rose.
Really?
So, anyway, so I'm just wailing this thing, and then they wheel me down in the car. I'm driving it like it's an 18-wheeler. So about 6 weeks later, my mom has gone to work. Well, soon after that, she already went ahead and went to work for them. And 6 weeks later, she comes and confronts me and says, Jamie, I just found out that everyone who's crazy after they get their wisdom teeth out are on drugs. I'm like a sophomore in high school. I've never done drugs. I'm like, no, Mom, I promise. I'm just crazy.
And she bought that?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. They are on some sort of something. That's why they are loopy and cray-cray.
But apparently the anesthesia is more effective on people that are
funny
drug users and funny.
Yeah. Oh, I see. I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
She was like, it
so
only works on people that are on dope, kid.
Yeah, and I
just say no.
Just
say no.
Just say no, Nancy everybody. Reagan.
That's funny.
All right, guys. Well, this is our musical episode of Everything That I Know with SrVerde, and we hope you've been entertained. And next time we do a musical episode, we will literally sing the entire thing as if it's a musical.
That is not going to happen.
Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody.